Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we're going to make this fun flap card. This is a fun fold, and I'm just going to call it a fun flap card. So when you open it up, I put the image on the inside, and then it opens up again to reveal another hidden message. This requires no die cuts, and it's just a few simple cuts with just a bunch of mats and layers. It does lay flat for shipping, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to need is our scoreboard. And for our first piece, it's going to be the base of the card. Just grab that. And this is going to be cut at 6 3/4 by 10 inches. And then you're just going to score it in the middle. And crease out that fold, but we'll do that in a minute. So then we're going to need two pieces, and these are cut at 4 3/4 inch square. And then you're going to need one piece, and this is cut at 4 1/2 inch square. Then we will need one piece, and this is cut at 4 3/4 inch square. We need one piece that is 1 1/2 by 4 3/4. And we are going to score this piece while it's there on the 3/4 inch mark. And then just fold that down, and I'll show you what that is for. That's for your little arm on your card. Then we will need one piece at 1 1/4 by 4 1/2. One piece at 4 3/4 by 1 1/2. One piece 3 1/2 by 4 inches. And then the last piece is going to be cut at 3 1/4 by 3 3/4. So now for the card base itself, we are going to make a mark at 1 3/4 inches from the left side. So I'm just going to turn my blade around. I'm just going to use this because it is a trimmer and a scoreboard. I'm going to put the mark so it is at 1 3/4 inches. And I'm going to line this up. Let me just turn this so you can see it better, because the scoreboard does fold in half. So I'm going to line up that little mark so that that little mark is in the track, and it does line up to be at 1 3/4 inches from the edge. I'm going to line my blade up with the fold of the card. I know it's hard to see, but it's on that 5 inch mark. And then I'm just going to cut it down. We're going to turn the card. We're going to place the fold in the track. And then you're just going to cut it down to that line that you just cut. So we're done with our scoreboard, so let's go ahead and move that out of the way. And now for the assembly of the card. So this is how the card is going to sit. Okay, as we move on to the mats and layers, we're going to put the arm on first. And this is going to go in the center of this open piece. So we'll turn the card to the side. That you can mark this with a pencil, but you want to make sure the middle you have 1 3/4 inches on both sides. So you get that perfectly in the middle. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just lift that up, making sure that it's lined up with the edge of the paper, and then just go ahead and apply glue. So I had grabbed my glue. I have this perfectly lined up, so there's at 1 3/4 inches on each side, and then I'm just going to pop that down and glue that down. And then I'm just making sure it's even. And then I'll just go ahead and use my bone folder and just push that glue out. Next for the layers. So for the inside of the card, we're going to have the pattern paper. So the one plain pink, that's the mat, and then the layer will be on top of that. And then we are going to put this pattern paper on the side. and then the top piece just kind of reverse the two colors. I don't like the way that looks on there. I'll show you. It's just too much of the same color, so I might not use that. And then the pink and the green will be on the top of the card. But before we do that, and I'm just showing you where all the layers are going to be placed, we're going to do the inside first. So I'm going to take this smaller strip, and we're just going to glue that to the inside of the card, and it's going to cover that flap that we just glued down. And I don't like the pink on there, so I'm going to put that to the side because I don't think I'm going to use it because I like the contrast of the stripe paper with the pink paper. So we're going to take those two pieces that we cut that are the same size, and those are going to be placed on the inside of the card. If you do have pattern paper, you can try and line it up. And then I'm just applying glue just so I have a little bit of wiggle room to move the pieces around, to making sure that they're even on all sides. And then I'll glue that second piece down. Okay, now for the front of the card. For the front of the card, we're going to put the pink piece down first and then layer on top of that. You just want to measure, just make sure you have this lined up right. One side is longer than the other. And I'm just going to glue that down, leaving that edge all the way around. Again, using my bone folder just to push that glue out. And then we'll put the stripe paper down, making sure that the stripe is going the same way. And again, just using my bone folder to make sure that glue is pushed out. Now for the flap of the card, we have the green piece, and then we have the pink piece. So I'm just making sure it's centered, and I'm just going to draw a line. And you really don't need to do this. You can just put glue because you're going to glue the pink piece on top. But I did this just so you could see where we're going to glue this down. So I'm just going to put glue in that penciled marked area that I did. And the pencil mark isn't really going to matter on most of it because you're not going to see it because, again, the pink is going to cover it. So I'm going to put that flap down so that it is glued. And I'm just going to make sure that it's in the center. I'm just erasing the pencil just on the edges just to make sure it doesn't show through. Then we're going to take the pink piece and we're going to glue that on top so you can't see most of the pencil mark anyway. And you want to make sure that this is even when you glue it down. And again, just use your bone folder just to push your glue out. Just to help to ensure that your layers are going to stick. So that is the basic mechanism of the card. Now I'm not going to use this piece, so I think I'm actually going to cut it and put it on here just to make this arm just a little bit more sturdy. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to line it up and just put a little mark, and I'll give you the dimensions in a second. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. I'm going to cut that off. And then we're going to glue this down. Oh, wrong piece. So we're going to glue this bigger side down. And again, this is just going to give strength to the arm of the card. So this piece is going to measure 1 1/4 by 2 3/8. And again, that's just going to add strength to the card. So now for the decorating of the card. So I'm going to use this hello stamp. And I'll put a link to where these were purchased at the bottom of the comment section. So I'm just going to put hello in the corner. So move the card out of the way. And then I'm just going to grab my little stamp buddy. I'm using a VersaFine ink, just making sure that is really inked up. And then I'm just going to stamp this on here, and I'm going to do it just at a little bit at an angle, I think. And then just push that down. Now, if this is a trick, if for some reason you don't stamp it, as you can see here, it didn't stamp all the way, I'm just going to grab a black pen and I'm just going to fill in those open spots. So I'm just right now, quickly, I'm just taking a baby wipe and cleaning the stamp off before I put it away. So now for the embellishments, I've got these little doggies. He's got a little ball that he's going to play with. So I think I'm going to put this dog on the front. And then I have 2 more dogs, and they're going to be on the inside of the card. And then I have the bones. So I'm going to use pop dots, and we're going to put pop dots on the dog just to give him just a little bit of dimension and height. So I'm just going to secure him to the bottom of the card. And then I'm going to take the ball and put it next to him, but I don't think we're going to use a pop dot. I'm just going to use that so it looks like the ball is kind of sitting behind him. And then we'll just glue that right down by his feet. So cute. Then on the inside, I think we're going to put, I'm going to put him at the bottom, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another sentiment, but I'm going to add a piece of green cardstock in the center. So I'm just going to put a piece of green cardstock right in the middle. And this is about 2 inches, so I'm going to make this piece, let me move this out of the way. So I'm going to make my piece at 2.5 inches. And then we're going to cut it by 3 inches. And this is just going to sit on the inside of the card. So I'm going to put that right there. And then put this dog right at the bottom. Now we'll just stamp this onto that green piece. So I'm going to move everything out of the way, move the card out of the way. And then I'm just going to stamp on the front of this one. So again, I'm just going to use my stamp block. I'm just making sure this is lined up and even on the paper. And there you go. So again, I just wipe those off before I put them away, just with the baby cloth. I'm using just this heart stamp, and I'm going to stamp in the corners of this embellishment. And I'm going to stamp it in all 4 corners. And again, I'm taking the black pen just to fill in any spots that didn't get inked. Okay, so then we're going to take this and we're going to glue this. I'm just going to glue it so that it doesn't hang over the edge, line it up with that side of the card. And then the little doggy will sit at the very bottom of the card. And all this will be covered with that flap that's going to close. And I don't want to add any thickness to him so the card will close completely flat. So I'm going to add him there. And again, I'm going to use my bone folder just to push that down, making sure he gets glued on all sides of him. And I think I'm going to put this dog on this little piece here. You could add pattern paper here. I'm just going to leave it the green paper. So I do like him sitting there, so I'm just going to put him sitting on the card here. So I'm just going to put him just about in the center. And again, using your bone folder just to push that glue all the way through. Okay, so that's the card so far. So one last piece of embellishment is I have these bones. I have about 5 of them. So I'm going to put these on the card. I'm going to put one on the front, I think. And then I'm going to put one, because I like it, it almost looks like he's holding it. So I'm going to put one next to his hand. And then I'm going to put 2 on the front, and then the other 2 on the inside of the card. Okay, and that's it. So again, I'm just going to use my bone folder because I really like to make sure my glue is pressed all the way through and that the edges of the pieces that we're gluing down are secure. Now you could add some more embellishments to this if you wanted. I like it just the way it is. So I want to thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And until next time, happy crafting, and I hope to see you real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.